So here is a test for you on the board. This is how we start this lesson. We start this lesson with a test. What do you call this? Do you call this a mark looking like an S, which actually means an and? If you call it like that, then my dear, you need to know the correct names for all of these punctuation marks, which I am sure most of you are using. To find out what are the names of these punctuation marks, please keep watching this video. I am Michelle and we are going to start now. Let's look at the first punctuation mark that we have on the board, which means, of course, you're all very smart. It means and. Okay, no problem. It means and. But what do we call this? Is this also called an and? Actually, it's not called an and. It has a different name. I'll tell you the name. The name of this mark is an ampersand. I know, that's so different, so strange a name, ampersand. And why is this called an ampersand? So, there's a very fascinating history behind it. So, this word is actually, it's originating from Latin, all right? Et. In Latin, et means and, all right? And the Latin scribes, when they used to write et in a hurried way. They used to write it very quickly. So ultimately, their et actually became something like this, which now means an and. And guess what? This ampersand is also counted now as the 27th letter in the alphabets that we have. So it's the 27th letter after Z. The reason behind is this, that after like X, Y, Z, and per se and. That's how the kids used to say, and per se and. So after Z we have an and. And per se and was slurred together and it formed the name ampersand. Now let's look at the second one that we have. What is that? Is that a period or is that a comma? So a period is a full stop for you and you know a comma. So what is it? It's a period also and a comma also. What does it mean? First of all, let's talk about the meaning. So this one means, this is used to join, compound sentences. So compound sentences mean that there are two clauses in a sentence, all right, and they come together to form one sentence. So let's say that Mark has nothing against leopards, he has grown up with cats. I'll write it for you here. Mark has nothing against cats. He has I'm so sorry. Mark has nothing against leopards. He has grown up with cats. Right. So where do you think we can put this mark here? Which two clauses are we trying to join? We are trying to join this clause with this clause. So Mark has nothing against leopards. This is one sentence in itself. It does not need another sentence. He has grown up with cats. This is also another sentence in itself and it does not need another sentence. However, because these two sentences have a relationship with each other, because both of them are talking about Mark, that's why they form one sentence with two independent clauses. So we use this mark to talk about two independent clauses, to join them together. And this mark is called as a semicolon. Semi means half of a colon. And what is a colon? A colon is like this. And this is a semicolon. Let's look at the next and one of the most common punctuation mark after period, and this one is a comma. A comma. So comma is used, of course, to mark a pause. Whenever you want to mark a pause, you will use a comma between two sentences, or when you're separating items in a list. Like I went to the supermarket and I got a soap, I got a brush, I got a hair dryer. So you'll put a comma between all of these to mark a pause. Now there's another interesting history for comma as well. Comma was the independence of slash, because initially this mark, which is a slash, which now means oblique or means, you're comparing two things. So a car slash bike, one of these. We're choosing one, either or. So the comma, initially we used to use slash in place of comma for marking a pause, but eventually as the writing grew and people started writing in a faster manner, they started using a comma, and this actually turned into this. So it's an evolution of slash, and now slash is exclusively used for comparing two things and not for any pauses. This one here, have you ever seen something like this? Have you ever heard something like, I think I love you, ... So we don't know what that person wanted to say after that. It's an incomplete sentence. So whenever you have something incomplete, a particular sentence which is incompletely spoken or incompletely written, it's marked as this. And this is called an ellipsis, used for an incomplete sentence. Most often we know what the person wants to say, but sometimes we don't know, and there is just no way to find out except to believe the ellipsis. The next one that we have is this mark, which is commonly known as apostrophe. So apostrophe has more than one function. First function is it's used as a contraction. So for example, I want to join can with not. It would come together as can't, C-A-N, with an apostrophe T. And this, the other function it performs is to talk about something that is belonging to someone. So it's also used for belonging. So like if I have a phone in my hand, this is Lisa's phone. This means that the phone belongs to Lisa. So if I'm trying to imply belongingness, I should use an apostrophe. The next one that we have are this. Very often when we talk in our body language, we mark this as this. This means quotation mark, or in someone else's words. This is when we are saying some other person's words. It's called a quotation mark. So we are quoting someone. Tony said, inverted commas, I would like to see you again, inverted commas, closed. So that's how you use it. With said, you put a comma and then you use the quotation marks to quote someone else's speech. The next one that we have is a very small one, which we use very often. It's called a hyphen. So like we have semicolon that we use to join two independent clauses, we have hyphen to join two independent words, which are together called compound words. So like we have it here, good and hearted come together to form good-hearted, but we join them using a hyphen. But you know what? You would of course know that when you're writing, when you complete a line and one word is incomplete. So let's say you were writing a line and a particular word, you start from here, there was a lep, and you want to write in the next line now, so you would put a hyphen here and write leopard. This means that the same word is continuing. This mark is a very famous mark. We all know about it. It's called a question mark. It's used at the end of questions. We also call it an interrogation mark. Did Mary get married? At the end of the question, you will put a question mark whenever you're writing. So the next one that we have is an exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. I found out some very interesting facts behind this mark as well. So initially, long ago in ancient days when people used to write, they used to write J-O-Y, joy, which is a Latin word and now an English word also, which means happiness. And when they used to write joy for happiness, slowly they started contracting this word, and in a hurry they started writing the J and the O only, which looks something like this, and much later it actually became an exclamation mark. It's interesting, isn't it? The last one that we have, this is a portmanteau, which means it has two marks coming together and two words coming together, because its name is interrobang. So bang means an exclamation or a shock or a surprise, which is same as this mark, which means surprise. And interro, as I told you, an interrogation mark means a question mark. So whenever you ask a question about something which you're very surprised about, you can put a question mark and an exclamation mark together. They can go in any order. You can also write this way. What? Did that really happen? So you're shocked also, and you're asking a question as well. So here we come to an end of today's video. I hope it was fun learning for you all these punctuation marks. I'll come back with more lessons for you. I hope you had a great time. Bye-bye.